Hi everyone, and welcome to Going Over Wrestling with me, your host Ross. In this episode, we're going to be looking at Day 6 of the New Japan Cup 2014, which took place on the 22nd of March 2014. Now, Days 2, 3, 4 and 5 didn't feature any tournament matches, so straight on to Day 6 here. Okay, so the first match up is Sho Tanaka taking on Yohei Komatsu. There's nothing much to the match as far as storyline goes. Yohei hits a lovely bridging suplex for a near fall, but Sho Tanaka picks up the victory with a single leg Boston Crab. So like I say, not much to the match, but it wasn't a bad one. So the next match is a 6-man tag. Iizuka, Yano and Yoshihashi from Chaos taking on Liger, Tiger Mask and Nagata. So there's not much to the match then apart from Liger getting worked over. Him and Iizuka brawl into the crowd and he gets walked over with a chair there. Back in the ring though, the finish comes when Yano gives Tiger Mask a slingshot into Iizuka, who's standing waiting for him, and pulls his mask off. Immediately Tiger Mask hits the mat and covers his face. The referee and a young lion jump in to help cover his face with towels until Nagata finally retrieves the mask back from Iizuka. So Chaos are disqualified. Nothing to the match, but it's interesting to see the finish coming with the demasking, if you will. So the third match on the card is an 8-man tag this time with Bushi, Kushida and the team of Tenkoji, which is Tenzan and Kojima. Kojima got his NWA World Heavyweight belt with him here, taking on Suzuki Gun members Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, Taichi and Taka Michinoko. We get a nice standing moonsault by Kushida on Taka during the match. It's nice, but like I said in the last episode of the New Japan Cup Day 1, that, you know, Ibushi's still got the best standing moonsault, I think, in my eyes. Taichi during the match actually tries to take Bushi's mask off. He almost gets it as well, but it's strange to just see the mask spot happen twice in the space of 2 matches, albeit Taichi isn't successful in removing Bushi's mask. We get a big power slam spot by Archer on Bushi, which the ref sells by actually falling to the ground upon impact. It's a nice touch, you know, I like that sort of thing in wrestling. The crowd pop huge for it as well. Tenzan picks up the victory when he gets Taka to tap out to the Anaconda Vice. After the bell, Taichi takes his frustration out by hitting a young lion with a chair. Overall, it's a good match. There's not much else to say on it. So next up we have another 6-man tag, which is Bullet Club members Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson and Tama Tonga taking on Great Bash Heel, which is Makabe and Honma and Taguchi. First thing I just want to say here is Tama Tonga comes out with white face paint on here with sort of black markings above his eyes. It looks really cool, especially with that long beard of his. He looks quite badass here. So the match begins with Doc Gallows and Makabe both doing the trying to knock the big man over spot. For the most part, Bullet Club members actually work over Taguchi until he finally gets the tag to Makabe. Tonga actually goes for a standing dropkick to Makabe, but he misses by, well, it's by a noticeable distance. It's a shame, but no bother because Makabe sells it anyway. In the build up to the finish, Honma actually heads outside to go up to the top rope, but as he's going between the second rope, he actually slips and falls on his ass on the apron. It's quite funny, but the camera pans back to the ring just as it happens, so it happens just slightly out of shot. But he finally gets up to the top rope though and gets his diving neckbreaker on Anderson for a near fall. After doing this, he goes back up to the top rope to hit his falling headbutt on Anderson, but he moves. Anderson gives him a fireman's carry into his cutter, but only gets a 2 count. Doc Gallows and Anderson deliver Magic Killer, and Anderson finally picks up the victory. It's a good match, ignoring the botched dropkick spot and Honma slipping on the apron. I really like this match. Doc Gallows is impressing me every time I see him now here in Japan, compared to obviously back in his TNA days, but Bullet Club in general, I'm a big fan of the team. So next up we've got another 8-man tag here with Chaos members Okada, Jado, Ishii and Takahashi versus Captain New Japan, El Desperado, Tanahashi and Nakanishi. Okada and Tanahashi actually repeat the spot from Day 1 where they're both standing in the ring with their respective belts round their waist doing the pose down spot. Okada and Tanahashi start things off. Not much to it though, but Tanahashi gets the upper hand until he finally tags out. Jado does the flare flip after getting enziguri'd by El Desperado. Jado does a nice flare flip though, because he goes to do it and then teases just as he's about to fall, does his shake of the hand like no I'm fine, and then flare flip, so quite good. Okada goes for Rainmaker on Tanahashi, but Tanahashi ducks out of the way and immediately hits Sling Blade on him. In the build up to the finish, El Desperado hits a flip senton through the second and top rope onto Okada. It's very impressive. Back in the ring, Tanahashi hits a frog splash to Jado to pick up the win for his side. Overall, a good match. The flip senton through the ropes by El Desperado was ace looking, it really was. The best section of the matches were the exchanges between Okada and Tanahashi. Okada and Tanahashi have fought each other so many times over the recent few years. It's difficult for them to come up with some new stuff to do, but it's still entertaining seeing both men in the ring at the same time. After the bell, Okada and Tanahashi also repeat the spot from night 1 where they stand with Okada on the apron. Tanahashi Taichi in the ring and do the stare down with the belts. This time both men raises their own belt up. So during the intermission here, we get various promos from the guys in the quarterfinals talking about their upcoming matches and their chances of progression to the final. Also during the intermission, Makabe joins the commentary desk for the second part of the show. So the first part of the show then was non-tournament matches, and now we're into the second part. This is where the quarterfinals begin. So first up, we've got Shelton Benjamin taking on Shibata. Shelton hits a lovely delayed double underhook suplex. Looks very strong as he holds him up there for quite some time. Benjamin blocks an armbar attempt by Shibata and actually lifts him up from the ground all the way up and hits a powerbomb. Benjamin also goes for the ankle lock, but Shibata manages to get a rope break. So Shibata is doing the spot where he does the kicks to the downed opponent. He comes off the ropes to do a running kick to Shelton's back, but Shelton pops up and hits him with pay dirt and gets the 1-2-3. I liked the finish to the match as it came out of nowhere. So the next quarter-final match we have here is Bad Luck Fale versus Naito. Fale is on the offense for most of the match, as you would expect. Naito finally turns the tide with starting to work the leg of Fale. He hits a few drop kicks. Also when they're on the outside, he drapes Fale's leg over the guardrail and hits a running drop kick, like crushing his leg into the guardrail, which is a nice spot. Naito goes to hit the Stardust press on Fale, but Fale manages to move out of the way. Fale goes for the crucifix powerbomb, but he actually almost drops Naito. It's like he loses grip of him as he gets him up onto the shoulder, but Naito drops off anyway and gets a schoolboy for a near fall. I was actually thinking this was going to be the finish here. Bad Luck Fale hits Naito with the choke lariat slam, but he kicks out. We get Bad Luck Fale hitting the crucifix powerbomb, the Bad Luck fall, to secure the victory and a spot in the semi-finals. It's a decent match. It was better than Fale's match in the first round, that's for sure. I was thinking though that with Makabe on commentary that he was going to play a part in the finish, maybe getting involved because of the feud with him and Fale, but no, they don't do that. Nice to see that the match ended clean. So next match on the card is Suzuki versus Goto. Taichi is out with Suzuki here, and as expected, Taichi gets involved pretty early on, hitting Goto with a chair and even going as far as to choke him with the chair while Suzuki distracts the ref. On the outside, Suzuki starts arguing with Makabe at the commentary desk. Towards the end of the match, Goto goes for an Irish whip on Suzuki, but as he's starting to run, he just sort of falls down clutching his knee. This doesn't play into any part of the match, so I don't think it's a work. I think he really did do something to his knee, you know, because the referee's down there checking on him. At one point, Goto goes to pick him up and he's checking on him as well as he's picking up. You can see them talking to one another, obviously just making sure he's okay, and shortly afterwards they go to the finish with Suzuki delivering a pile driver for the 3 count. So Suzuki progresses to the semi-finals then. So after the match, Suzuki and Taichi taunt Makabe. So obviously they're working an angle here for Suzuki and Makabe to do some program down the line. Okay, so we get our main event of the night, Prince Devitt versus Shinsuke Nakamura. So Bullet Club boss comes out here with the entire Bullet Club at ringside. Nakamura goes for his vibrating chokehold in the corner that he does, but Tama Tonga distracts the ref. Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows pop up on the apron and actually pull Nakamura up and drape him over the turnbuckles for Devitt to hit a running knee to the body. After this, Devitt actually starts mocking Nakamura's mannerisms and gets some good heat for it as well. Devitt lands a very sweet looking dropkick to Nakamura's face. Devitt hits a double foot stomp from the top rope for a near fall. Devitt goes for Bloody Sunday, but is blocked by a kick to the face. As Devitt's getting up, he gets a bomb of Ye to the back of the head, but Nakamura can't capitalise as the Bullet Club members start climbing up onto the apron, but Nakamura manages to knock each of them off. The finish comes when Nakamura hits bomb of Ye to a sitting Devitt for a very near fall, but delivers a second as Devitt is getting back up to his knees. Nakamura is through to the semi-finals. It was a very good match, but it's sad to see Devitt go out as I'm a big fan of his, but to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Nakamura as well. It's a shame to lose either of them at this stage. I would have liked this match to actually be in the final. Overall, I thought it was a decent show. Not great, but decent nonetheless. So the best match on the show was Nakamura versus Devitt, 2 of my favourite wrestlers going at the moment, so nice to see them work in the ring. So the semi-finals are set then, which is Bad Luck Fale versus Shelton Benjamin and Nakamura versus Suzuki. This will take place on the 23rd of March 2014, with the final taking place the same night as well. So that's going to do it for this episode then. Thanks for listening. See you later.